Today we're looking at the update of the liquid amber that was split in two a couple years ago. I think this is the third year coming up. So this is one side. This is the other side. If you go back and check out the video, you could remember or you could see that this was one at one time. It was in a squat 15, which was getting quite heavy. And now it's two smaller trees with very interesting shape. Kind of interesting style, and then it's highlighting the damaged part. It's starting to look very interesting to me. What style? I'm not even sure, but this is the back side. Let it come around. So now we're looking at the side view coming up. It's got a ways to go to be sort of finished bonsai, but okay, so let's take a close look. It has a good root flare, and then the rock in the back kind of almost makes it look like it's a really wide base, and then as it goes up, I think that apex need to be changed, because I think this lower branch that's coming up is going to be the highlight. I'm thinking the apex, you come down here or even cut off here and use this, although it is leaning forward too much. Maybe somewhere in this neighborhood. This one too, I think it still got a ways to go in terms of getting an interesting finish style on it. Up here, the apex area, I think it's a little tall, so it's going to get brought down a little bit. And then I think this other side where it kind of shoots to our right needs work. I think if we could get branches on it, I think it would be more interesting. So yes, it has a ways to go, but it does have a great base and at least one trunk that's looking really good, and then the other one that could be interesting as I get it to develop. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. I think as it comes around, you can see where it was cut. So in the course, since I cut it, I did trim it up a few times. You can see the fresh cut that I just did. There was a piece that was kind of sticking up. It was not helping the design, so I cut that back. It still might change more in the future. You know, that's what happens when you make a major change. It takes a while to get it restyled so that it looks very well designed intention. Okay, so I think the front is coming around again. Okay, so I think this is the front. Okay, so hopefully you like these updates. I'll do these from time to time, and well, it's usually going to be very short because there's not much to do. But on some updates, we'll be working on furthering the design and things like that. So this has been liquid amber that was split in two 2 years ago. This is our 3rd year. So the first year, it was just to see if it'll recover, and last year it was in the slightly development stage, but not much. I think this year we'll put it out in the more sunny spot and then do further developing. So here is an update of this is the rough bark elm. At one time, this was one tree. This one here, what happened was it belonged to a good friend of mine, and his watering failed, I think, and before he could catch it, it had done damage. So this one had a much taller apex. In fact, it was taller than this side here, so you could visualize how tall that is. And if you cannot visualize, go back a couple of years, and then I shot the video what I did. Well, with the major apex that died, we had to change the front too. So you could see this big scar. That is where this other one was cut off. Behind the big rock is where the big scar is. So that was how it used to be together. With the big apex being dead, I had to change the style, right? So this is what I came up with. But then it looked kind of silly because the secondary one was now taller than the main part. Therefore, I proceeded to make 2 out of it. And so you could still see the big scar up on top. That was absolutely necessary because I had to cut off the dead. So the front used to be, I think, about here, or the back side, one or the other. If you really want to see, just go back and look at the video when I was doing this. Now, it's taking a lot longer to recover, I think, because it was so stressed out and near death that is recovering at the root line, I think. Anyway, this is the 3rd year, maybe the 4th year coming up, but it's really finally coming together. This is the second half. And what happened was when I cut it loose, there was only root on one side. That's why it's set so far back in the pot. Yeah, so what I did was I replaced the original rock, which was just a functional, just to prop it up, to something that is going to be fairly permanent. I think this will actually help this presentation. That's the backside right now, and as we get to the front, it kind of gives you the illusion that the base is quite large, and then also nicely hides that scar somewhat. Now, this too has taken a while to get strong. And as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the new apex. I think it's much too tall. So up to now, all I wanted was this to get vigorous. And it took 2 years, going on the 3rd. And now I'm thinking the apex should be down here someplace. Well, even if we keep this, I think this is too big, so it should be cut off. But I didn't want to do a lot of that while it was trying to recover. So I'm thinking cutting off here, and go in that direction with the new apex. Now, maybe I should do an air layering because this part is pretty nice, right? So, these are all the considerations that we have to go through to make a good bonsai. Okay, so this concludes the update of 2 different plants. First, a liquid amber, and this is a rough bark elm. This one here has had the distinction of being near dead. There's still a lot of work yet, but I need to get this healthy. And I think this is the year that it's going to be healthy enough that I can do some a little more whacking and getting it shaped up. So anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll try to keep you updated on as many of the project as possible. This one, I think I told you, it belongs to a friend of mine, and I'm thinking the bigger side, I think it could be returned to him this year. He can manage the rest. And then this other one here, I think because of the change I want to make to the apex, I'll probably hang on to it for another at least half a year and maybe a year. Anyway, so this is Hiro saying goodbye. Don't let your trees end up like this. But if it does, hey, bring it in for a workshop and I can help you maybe get your situation resolved too. Okay, so, goodbye.